Hi everyone, Kenny Weiss, coach and speaker, and I posted another request if anyone had a question on LinkedIn or Facebook, and I got this. It has to do with a question of what's the proper amount of communication between exes. So I'm just going to read what she wrote, make it easier. The question is, what's the right amount of communication between exes? My boyfriend and his ex text constantly. She'll text after we're in bed for the night, and when we wake up, there's a text waiting for him, or it'll come to him while we're laying in bed. Instead of texting her boys, she'll text him to have him call or text her. If she's picking them up, once she drives up and gets close to the house, she will not call or text her boys to come to the door. She texts him, and he'll call me to let me know to tell the kids to go to the door. So how much is healthy? For her, she says, it feels like they are still married, but we're living in separate houses with other people. Well, this can happen quite a bit as couples separate and then they start new relationships. And none of us have been taught about relationships and stuff and don't realize that this is massively codependent and damaging to everyone involved. It sends mixed messages all across the board. So the first thing to realize is maybe they just don't know this. Because they haven't been taught, it's quite possible it could be an innocent mistake. Regardless, some boundaries need to be put in place. And the key with boundaries, see, in most situations like this, codependency, what would happen is there's an attempt to change the other person. That's not what a boundary is. And a boundary is a chance to love yourself, and in the process, share who you are with somebody else so that you both can decide if you want to be in the relationship. So there are basically 6 parts to this. The first part is talk about what you observe. Second part is what are your feelings about what you observe. Number 3 is what do you make up about that. Number 4 is ask for what you want, your needs and wants. Number 5 is celebrate their no. I'll explain that in a minute. And number 6 is have a plan for their no. So let me walk you through this. Let's say Melissa was my girlfriend, we're living together, and this is the situation. This is how I'd walk through the steps of setting a boundary. Number 1, you know, Melissa, I've been noticing that your exes, you guys talk constantly on the phone and through text. And about that, I feel rejected, actually. I feel replaced. I feel inadequate. I feel like I don't matter to you. That's probably the biggest feeling I have about that. About that, what I make up is that you guys are still in a relationship and that I'm having to share my girlfriend with another man. That's what I make up about that. I'd like to ask if you'd be willing, because they don't have to, would you be willing to put a plan in place to stop that communication? I personally, it doesn't work for me that you guys are communicating about anything other than the kids, and really that stuff, like the stuff with the kids, most of it can be done directly. So I'm curious if you'd be willing to put some sort of plan in place to end that communication. Now, a lot of times people say no to us. So we go in expecting, because it's not about getting them to change, it's about asking for what we need and want. That's important. And so we have a backup plan to celebrate their no. And that's what this is, the 6th piece, the last one. So let's say you get the no. Okay, well, I'm hearing for you, it just doesn't work. Because they could say, like, no, this is crazy. We just chat. I don't care about her. We're just friends, right? That's probably what you'd hear. Okay, so I'm hearing for you that you think this is fine and you guys are just friends and actually you're just co-parenting, so what's the big deal? And I'm the problem that I want to stop it. Okay, well, thanks for sharing that with me. What I've decided that works for me is if this continues and I'm having feelings like I am today where it's just too much for me, I'm going to start spending the night in the spare bedroom. And when I'm having really tough nights, then I'll probably spend it in a hotel, because this just doesn't work for me. But I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts and feelings on it and listening to mine. So thank you for that. Boom, done. See, boundaries aren't about controlling. That's what we try and do in all our relationships. They've got to change. No, they don't. The truth is he gets to be or she gets to be whoever they want. Boundaries are about sharing, being incredibly vulnerable. Look at what I did or the person who does this did. They just completely opened themselves and said, this is how this is feeling to me. They took a huge risk because most likely, in this case, the person's going to say no. They're going to get defensive or whatever. Maybe they haven't completely let go of their ex and they don't want to. And you've just exposed that. Well, now you just saw it. You just took a massive risk. That's what boundaries are about. It's about true, real intimacy. And intimacy, I love this explanation, is into me, I let you see. So that's what you're doing in that boundary, is going, here's where I feel exposed and worried about the state of our relationship. I'm willing to risk that and have you say no to it because I value you that much. And conversely, the other person risks in going, I hear you, but I disagree. That is massive vulnerability on both sides. Now, here's the thing. This is the beauty in setting a boundary, is you both get to step back and go, wow, well, she wants me to give up this texting with my wife or ex-wife. Nice slip there. God, I don't want to do that. Do I want to be in a relationship with somebody who wants me to give that up? And conversely, oh my God, he doesn't want to let go of this. Do I want to be in a relationship with someone like that? Do you see, that's what boundaries are about. We learn about ourselves and each other and what we're willing to put up with. If you're not willing to put up with that kind of behavior, then you have to set a limit. And that limit is loving. Because look what happens if you stay there and you allow this behavior. You're already feeling resentful and angry. What's that do? You're pulling away. And eventually, you're going to start doing things that are hurtful to them. That's not loving. So by keeping your mouth shut and putting up with this, you're actually hurting them just as much as they're hurting you. That's the problem with not setting boundaries. It's not loving when you say yes to everything. That's codependency. That's addiction. That is not love.